Junior, not so much, but still. Anyway, been to Mar-a-Lago, met the president. I am not friends with the president. I have to reestablish that before I go with this story. I have other stories, but this is one that I think lends to the man. Okay. So I met Eric because I am in the pew pew manufacturing business, and that was our commonality. So we all established the relationship. I am not a donor. I am at best a dipshit on a good day. So anyway, I've established this relationship. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother, is on Social Security. We pay her mortgage, but she's on Social Security. She lives on Security. And a very big Trump fan. I'm unclear why she chose this. When she found out that we had a friendship with them, and by the way, this is not like just events. I've been to the houses of all of them many times as friends. But asked me if I could get a Bible that she had in her house to sign. I almost didn't think it was appropriate, but of course I did it. My mother-in-law, I love her to death. I asked Eric, and he said, absolutely, I'll get it signed for you. I wasn't there for the actual signing. He signed it. I gave it back to my mother. It was a couple weeks in between this. So I gave it back to my mother-in-law, and she was absolutely thrilled. Forced my wife to take her to the Hallmark store and buy her very appropriate stationery. 71, by the way. That's how old she is. And so bought the stationery, and she wrote him a handwritten letter for signing the Bible. Thank you so much was the basic, gist of the letter. I didn't read it, but anyway. 2 weeks later, Eric calls me on a Monday night. Says, hey, what are you guys doing Thursday? Said, I don't know, you tell me. He goes, you want to come to Mar-a-Lago? Now, I've been to Mar-a-Lago before for events, okay? So I want to make sure I establish that, but I've never been there in this context. I said, okay. He said, will you bring your mother-in-law? Absolutely. Brought my mother-in-law with myself, my wife, and my mother-in-law. We got there. Of course, she's completely enamored. The people there are giving her the tour. President Trump is not there when we're doing the tour and all that stuff. I apologize if I'm long-winded, by the way. Okay. Willpower.
No, you're good.
And then we sat down for lunch. President Trump came out. Of course, she's completely, I'm starstruck, whatever you want to call it. He sat down and held her hand next to her, not across the table, for almost 45 minutes, give or take, whatever it is, and talking about a senior who's living on Social Security only. That was her issue. They talked forever. They talked about other things. He gave her his private, not his private number, but his executive secretary's private number. We did the obligatory pictures, and then we left. The reason I tell this story is not for my ups, but what it is he didn't have to do that. I don't donate to Trump. I'm not some billionaire that is writing checks. The reason I tell this story, and I have others, but I'm a little bit careful about them because I was asked to keep them close to the breast, but that meant something to me. He cares about Americans. He didn't have to do that. Now, do I know if Eric and Junior pined to him to ask him if he would do that for me? Maybe they did. I don't know. I have no knowledge of that. But what I would do say is he certainly did not need to spend 45 minutes with my mother-in-law talking about issues that certainly pertain to her. I just wanted to get that out there. I apologize if I'm long-winded. And it's not that great of a story.
No, it is, because I think what it does is it show, and there isn't another person in the position that Donald Trump is in, and not only in business and politics, that would take 45 minutes to sit down and have a conversation with somebody about things that are going on in their life. Not one.
He didn't give her money or any. I mean, of course, when you go to Mar-a-Lago, I don't know if you guys, anybody here's ever been there, but you're not a member. You can't pull your wallet out. You can tip the valet is about the only thing you can do if you're a member, which is another point of contention with me and ET. But I have other stories. I was asked specifically to keep them close to the vest, so I'm not going to share those. But that specific story, I always thought was nice. I don't know why, people, obviously the liberals immediately go, oh, it's a Bible. I didn't choose what she asked me to get signed. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a Trump Bible. It was a Bible. I didn't choose it. She asked me to do it. I did it. I wasn't there for the signing, like I said, but I thought it lends to his character. And then the other part is, like I said, I'm friends with the children. I'm not friends with the president. So I have to make that abundantly clear. I've met him like 9 or 10 times, but I'm not friends with him. But what I want to say is, I'm an old school redneck. I'm originally from Texas. I live in Palm Beach now. And I want to say this to you. The measure of a man is his children. And if that is a true statement, then no one can ever hold fault to President Trump.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. I think we need to get Alicia Nightingale up in this panel because she's just like running off at the mouth, and I feel like shutting down a leftist tonight before I go to bed. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Even if you go to Google, for example, the approach, look at the recidivism rate of Trump employees. They have 23, 22 to 24,000 employees. Nobody leaves. Nobody does. There's a reason for that. I've been to 10 of the properties over the years, and I can tell you that everyone has respect. He's very accommodating, even to people that you wouldn't think he would be accommodating to. He's very nice man. I'm in the. What I want to say is that was a kind story. I have others. Again, I was asked not to tell any other stories specifically on TikTok, but so I won't. But I'm going to tell you that this man does care about Americans. I mean, my mother-in-law, like I said, literally, we pay her mortgage and she lives on Social Security. So he did not need to do that. It didn't change his life. It didn't benefit him in any way. All it did, the only thing it did, was make him human.
Yeah.
Well,
Great
we
story.
can't have that in the current year.
Well, that's the problem is Donald Trump is I think very recently been incredibly successful at being human. He just does things that are just out of instinct. I mean, I've talked about this a little bit, but in the rally that he did in Atlanta earlier in the week, when he brought up that artist who painted that picture for him, that wasn't planned. You can tell that wasn't scripted. He just recognized somebody out in the audience who painted a picture, and he brought up him on stage, and he literally just in a matter of a couple of minutes created a famous artist out of that one event. and gave the guy what is probably going to turn out to be a multi-million-dollar signature. Just simply out of instinct. Hey, this is going to be a cool opportunity to introduce the world to somebody who painted a picture. And then he did the same thing with that young lady that he met in the Waffle House. I mean, her life has been radically transformed because of that interaction that she had with him in the Waffle House. And she is now a political activist who is, driving a lot of the conversation within the Black community simply because of that one interaction. Just the instinct that he has to humanize himself in ways that no other political figure is able to do is astonishing to me. I mean, you can tell that it's just who he is at his core. It's in his DNA.
Yeah, so on a side note to anybody who's a member of what does the left call us, a cult? Isn't that what the left says? We're a cult? Isn't that what they say about us?
We're cultists. We're Trump cultists.
If you're ever in Palm Beach, please instant message me. I can't promise you Mar-a-Lago, but I will promise you is that you will be on property somewhere, because there's 5 of them here in Palm Beach alone. I'm pretty sure, like, ET and I are very close. Like, I talked to him 16 minutes after Trump was the attempt. I have to be careful. I'm so new to TikTok. I have to be very careful about my verbiage, and I apologize for that. But yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I was, after the attempt, and I'm going to give you one word. I know, it's been glossed over that we're not talking about that anymore because there's a new news cycle. But his one word, and repeated 4 times was actually, let me grab my phone because I'm on my iPad right now, which was, I apologize because I'm actually going blank on the word right now, and I completely apologize. Hold on. It is, incompetence. That's the exact 3 texts I got. My response was, is he okay? Are we good? He goes, he will be okay. What is it? Some stuff I don't want to tell you guys, if you don't mind. I apologize. He will be okay.
No, I don't mind. I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, some stuff is personal stuff. So he says, that's I don't want to say that either. Actually, I'm being very careful. He goes, incompetence. My response was, I don't know. I'm not an expert. However, I would have definitely think that whoever's in charge needs repercussions. He goes, again, if you and so our relationship is because of pew-pews. That's how our relationship is. I'm a manufacturer of pew-pews for a living. That's what I do. And that's how I built the relationship. But he said, imagine if you and I would have been behind that scope. So that was his response. Some other stuff I really don't want to put up here, but yeah. But I mean, it was negligence, and literally the next response is, what would have happened if you or I were behind that rifle? So you guys don't know, we reach out to 1,500 yards on a regular basis, without even blinking an eye. 1,500 yards is not even a shot for us.
Well, if he wouldn't have moved his head in the exact instant that he'd moved his head, I mean, honestly, I was looking at camera footage to see if I could see an indent of a finger or something, like shifting his direction of his face, because I mean, it was nothing but pure providence.
Right.
That was a God moment right there. Yeah. We've all had those in our lives when something happens where you can't really explain it. It's just like your body was moved. Like, I'll give you an example. My daughter, when she was like 2 or 3 years old, was walking up the stairs, and she was, I don't know, she was doing something goofy, and I was a couple steps behind her, and she started very quickly to lean backwards. And I could tell that she was getting ready to fall, and then something just stopped her. And it's almost like it pushed her forward. Like that's the type of event that happened that day. Something just shifted his head in the direction it needed to be shifted in the exact instant it needed to be moved. So that thing instead, because if you think about it, the position that his head was in, that would have been a center shot, but it wasn't because it shifted his head in the exact instant that it needed to. I mean, it was a God thing, and I don't have any other explanation for it.
Well, also bear in mind that, somebody who actually pews on a regular basis and understands the theory would have never, ever, we would never have done that, ever. There would a head shot or a head pew. Wow, I hate this. A head pew would have never been, it would have been center mass all the time, every time, 100%. That would never have been an aiming point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I think
I apologize. I feel like I came in here and silenced the room, and I promise you I did not mean
For good reason,
No.
sir. It's not. You have a lot of good things to say, a lot of interesting insight, I think.
I mean, it's better than most of our lives where we're yelling at people. So,
which I also love to do. My newest go into a liberal live is this, and I pretty much the new saying here on lives is and I land my plane, right. So I asked them, are any of them okay with two laws in New York being ratified in order to charge a singular person, and then not a single AG has brought those identical charges to another human being in the state of New York? And what do they all say? They don't know what to do. Your guy is guilty. No, that's not what I'm asking. Are you okay with two laws being ratified in the state of New York and not another human being being charged with those two exact crimes? And these laws both expire in January, bear in mind. This is not rhetoric. This is not tinfoil hat. I'm
For
giving
the tiny dinies.
So
I mean, no way. You make such an important point because I like to try to think through like what's happening in the political realm as much as I can, and something shifted in the way that our political process and really our law enforcement and our judicial process functions. And I can't tell exactly when it happened, but at some point we moved from a Western style judicial system where you investigate crimes and then through that investigation you find the people. And now we're in a judicial system that seems to be targeted on people in search of crimes. And it's a very scary environment to be in when you are using the legal system to investigate people. It takes me back to my research and my studies on the way Stalin basically removed all of his political opposition. That's exactly what he did. He used lawfare tactics to remove people, and then he just threw them in gulags, and ultimately they just ended up disappearing from the earth. But we are now in a judicial system that looks a lot more like a Russian or a Soviet Union revolution than it does the United States or a Western judicial system.
Right. No, I completely echo your opinion. I agree with you 100%. I fight this point a lot. And then, dude, you guys really want to put your tinfoil hat on? Is that okay, Will, or no? Am I not cool with that, or are you
You're good. You're free to say whatever your experience is.
Yeah, if you're gonna get the live shut down, we'll let you know.
I'm trying to be very, very mindful. So, yeah, thank you so much. Not the subject I was bringing up. So, again, I told you guys I'm I'm in West Palm. I'm not afraid of it. Don't care who looks me up. Doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. But I was just in Montana. My family has property on a lake in Montana, and I was just there. And I met my father's friends with somebody who they're Republican, but the daughter was visiting as well. Not my house, obviously, but not their house. And she spoke to me, and she is a former Biden campaign person. I don't know her title, so please forgive me. So I'm not giving I don't think she was the manager. Somewhere in the Biden campaign. Okay. After Biden stepped down, she did not like the way the Harris campaign was running, and so she decided to walk away, okay, from that campaign status. And she told me something that was interesting. She didn't say this to be fact, so again, pull your tinfoil hat out, because I can only take this with a grain of salt, but she is real. She wasn't like a fantasy. She told me, don't be surprised if prior to November that Biden completely steps away from the presidency and Harris is sworn in. I said, okay. And she said, because sitting presidents poll better. I was like, what? She goes, sitting presidents poll better. It actually, I said, we already had this discussion that I'm friends with some of the Trumps, right? She goes, no, I know. And I'm never going to vote for, she said, a-hole. She goes, and you can say whatever you want. She goes, we're in the middle of Montana, and I live in Maryland. So I said, okay. But I just want to, don't be surprised. And then I took it a little bit more tinfoil hatty, because if the deal is struck that she can pardon Hunter with this deal, that she will pardon Hunter and he exits, don't be surprised if it happens. Again, I hate doing hyperbole. It's so freaking bad. It makes me sound unintelligent and, like a crazy righty. But I want you to think the benefits. The benefits are she polls better. Hunter is completely pardoned. That's all I was bringing to the table. I apologize if it sounds like absolute nonsense. Again, this is somebody who was legit, did work on the Biden campaign. That's 100% legitimate, and 100% did not want to work on the Harris campaign. Those two things I could confirm.
You're not. This isn't the first time I've heard that. I mean, I think it's a very reasonable assumption that something like that is going to have to happen, and not just because of the political realities of having potential bump in her poll numbers, but the truth is we've got what 3 months until, well, shoot, even more than that. We're at 5, almost 6 months out before Joe Biden would leave office. There's no way that somebody with the mental deficiencies that he has can continue to be sitting in the president's seat with everything that we have going on around the world. There's no way.
He's not in the president's seat. He's in the gulag.
Well,
I love when you say
that's
that.
very possible.
I don't know why he's like, they haven't invoked the 25th Amendment. Like, the
Yeah.
Democratic Party openly just admitted that he's absolutely incompetent and incapable of running for another 4 years, but he's still leading the country in some fashion.
Yeah, it's insanity. It's insanity. But Will, panel, I'm gonna jump. It's almost 3:30. I got to get up in the morning. This is fun.
Hey, well,
So
thank you
keep
for
it-
coming up, and
Yeah, man.
thanks for, guiding us in a better direction with the live.
Yeah, let's move forward and keep that stuff out of the lives and deal with it separately.
Hey, Peter, message
I
me.
agree.
Follow me. But
Yep. Hmm. Well, I want to hear those. So if you're able to make it happen, make sure you let me know. Yep. All right, y'all. Check you tomorrow. See ya.
Take care.
So Will,